What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another Week 9 preview and prediction. Who thought at the beginning of the year I'd be doing a video on this one, huh? But the rivalry between Notre Dame and Navy is renewed this week. It's a neutral site in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and the Navy midshipmen are going to look to prove they are a legit team for the college football playoff race in the group of 5 spot, while the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, in a must-win scenario, get a chance to put a marquee victory on their resume. It's the Fighting Irish, it's the midshipmen, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about this matchup here in just a little bit. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the love and support you continue to show me here on and off the channel. It really does mean a lot to me, and especially thank you so much for taking time out of, I'm sure, your busy day to watch this video. If you'd like to continue to support me in any way possible, well, you can do that here on YouTube in the biggest way possible, besides watching, is hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell down below. If you're new to the channel, you might as well do it if you're as big of a college football nerd as I am. But if you've been on the channel before and you've wanted to, but just haven't gone through with it yet, I really encourage you to. We talk a lot of college football here on this channel, and please like, comment, share, and do anything else you can to interact with the channel. But I also do want to say, go give me a follow on Twitter or X. It's at TailgateNate29. I'm trying to formulate a plan together, and I know I've said this for the past couple weeks now, but trying to formulate a plan together for how I want to utilize it. But when I get in the full swing of things, I'm posting about articles I write, games I call, and everything of the like. So make sure you go ahead and tune on into that if you want to see everything else I do in the sports media world. But without further ado, I give you the Irish, I give you the midshipmen. This should be a really fun and interesting one from East Rutherford, New Jersey. Hey, how do we do preview predictions around here on the channel? We're going to go through some keys to the game when each team possesses the football. So we will first look at the Irish offense against the midshipmen defense, and then we'll flip it. We'll look at Navy's offense versus Notre Dame's defense. At the end of the video, I'll sort of go through some keys to the game, or not keys to the game. I'll just sort of give you my, well, we're doing that now. That's exactly what we're doing. But at the end of the video, I'll give you some final thoughts and how I think this game is going to play out, as well as who I think comes away with the win from East Rutherford, New Jersey. All right, Notre Dame and Navy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Navy midshipmen are ranked. This is not a drill. This is the real deal. Navy is a legit team, and I'll probably say that a couple more times here throughout this video. But Notre Dame is a legit team too. I know a lot of people continue to sort of hold the Northern Illinois loss above this team's head. And honestly, it kind of is above their own head, because if they lose another game, well, they probably can kiss their chances at making the college football playoff goodbye. They have a very good chance to win out, pick up some marquee wins against Navy, against Army. Yeah, we'll be previewing that one when it comes time there as well. Even a road victory against USC. I know the Trojans are struggling, but it probably wouldn't look that bad to add a road Power 4 win onto the resume, no matter how bad the team on the other side of the football is. But Notre Dame has been an offense this year that, well, not too different from last season. It is controlled by the ground. The pass game hasn't really been there all season, but it is really starting to come along through the play of Riley Leonard. And I want to touch on him first, because while his stat line is not going to blow you away, he's only got 6 touchdowns to 3 interceptions and only around 1,100 passing yards. What he has done on the ground for this Notre Dame offense has been sensational. So far this season, 456 yards and 10 touchdowns. He is just 6 yards away from being the leading rusher here on this team, a spot currently occupied by Jeremiah Love, 462 yards and 7 touchdowns so far this season. But you go back and you look at Notre Dame's past performance against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Riley Leonard threw for over 200 yards, didn't have a touchdown through the air, but did have 2 touchdowns on the ground. You go back to the game where Notre Dame absolutely plastered Stanford. He threw for 229 yards and 3 touchdowns, as well as got in the end zone for a rushing touchdown in that game. And then in the affair against the Louisville Cardinals, well, he was right there leading the team in rushing. Also had a rushing touchdown, a couple passing touchdowns in that one. It wasn't a pretty start for Riley Leonard. I think every Notre Dame fan and every college football fan has to see that and has to admit that. but Riley Leonard has been a very good quarterback as of late here for this team, especially with his legs, and he has got to keep this up. He's got to be able to utilize his legs. This is not a Navy defense that is absolutely going to blow you away with their baseline stats, like their yards per game allowed and their passing yards per game allowed and their rushing yards per game allowed. They're not necessarily going to wow you. I think Notre Dame's going to be able to run the football on this Navy defense, which is exactly what Notre Dame wants to do. The one thing, though, I do think Notre Dame has to be able to solve is this front pressure. And Navy has forced 15 sacks so far this year, and because of the amount of pressure that they can get, I mean, Navy, they've forced 14 turnovers so far this season. And when you take a look at the disparity and sort of where these turnovers are coming from the midshipmen, well, I had it in front of me and then it was gone. 10 of them have been picks. Only 4 of them have come by way of fumbles, which, what does that mean? Well, Riley Leonard, I think utilizing his legs is not necessarily a bad idea, because you take a look at, well, Notre Dame's offense as a whole. Again, only 3 times has Notre Dame thrown an interception. Only 3 times has Notre Dame thrown an interception this season. They have 5 fumbles. It's kind of a weird little dichotomy, because Notre Dame is running the football and you'd like them to run the football, and Navy is not really a team that's going to force fumbles more so than they will picks. They're still going to force fumbles. They're still going to make you work for those yards that you get. But when you take a look at what the Irish, I think, are going to want to do a little bit more in this game, try to establish that pass game from Riley Leonard. This is a Navy secondary that, yes, has forced 10 picks, but as long as Riley Leonard does not put the football in harm's way, this is a midshipman secondary that is very vulnerable. However, again, I'll get back to it. The biggest thing the Irish are going to have to solve is this Navy pressure. Again, 15 sacks so far on the season, and it comes from everywhere. Not just one guy has done it, but if you do want to list out one guy, it's the senior defensive end in Justin Reed, who has been phenomenal so far for them this year. But I count at least 3 other guys that have at least 2 sacks for him here, and 2 of them are coming from the defensive backfield. This is a very tricky pressure scheme and blitz scheme to sort of prepare for. That's going to be the big test for the Irish here in this one. But I think as long as the Irish are able to establish that run and sort of be able to, how do you say, just to play their style of football, if they establish the run and they can run on this Navy team and they prove that they're averaging 4, 5, maybe even 6 yards per carry, they're going to be able to supplement in with the pass game. Riley Leonard is not going to have too much pressure throwing the football, and as long as Notre Dame can avoid the turnover bug, it should be pretty smooth sailing. Navy is going to make it tough, though. This is a legit midshipman team, but I also think, and this really goes for both sides here. This goes for not only Notre Dame's offense and Navy's defense, but for Notre Dame's defense and Navy's offense. This is just a huge point of contention that I wanted to talk about early here. Controlling the pace and working the clock. That is the big thing for both of these teams, because as you take a look at the Navy midshipmen, this is still an option offense. This is an offense that still is fueled on running the football. They average almost 275 rushing yards per game. Now, what's different about it this year? It's not necessarily an under center triple option style. Yes, it still is an option offense, but it's incorporating the pass a whole lot more. Navy threw the ball, I don't really have the number in front of me, but they didn't throw the ball a whole lot last season. They've already thrown the ball 81 times this year, and their quarterback, Blake Horvath, has been a dog. He's got 10 touchdowns through the air and only 1 pick on around 63% completion percentage in 72 attempts, has 888 yards, but also leads this team in rushing, averages almost 8 yards per carry, and has 10 rushing touchdowns, including a 90-yard sprint to the end zone. Blake Horvath has been a dog for the midshipmen so far this season, and more of the reason why, just controlling the clock is going to be a very important aspect here to this game. But again, running it out of the shotgun gives them a little bit more options on what they want to do. And Notre Dame, for as much as they like to commit resources to the run, well, not necessarily commit, but for how good they are at being able to defend the run, I mean, yes, this is the defense that can defend the pass really well as well. Notre Dame is one of the best defenses in the country so far this season. Being able to prepare for an option attack is really, really difficult, and it doesn't matter how good your defense is. Just seeing that old school style of football and seeing the way that an option offense is run. For example, the college that I go to recently played an option attack. We normally have a pretty solid defense, and we really couldn't handle this team that ran the option all that well. It doesn't matter how good your defense is. It is really, really, really tricky to prepare for an option attack, especially now when you have to consider that, hey, this team is an absolute threat to throw the football. The favorite target in Eli Heidenreich, I hopefully am saying that last name right. I probably am not, and I apologize profusely. Not only is he a threat to run the football, he's got 22 carries, but he is leading the team in receiving yards, 485 of them to be exact, with 5 touchdowns. You also can throw it to Chapman out of the backfield. He's got 3 touchdowns on only 9 catches. Navy is going to be a dangerous offensive attack. Notre Dame is going to have to game plan for a lot, but especially for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, if you do not control the trenches against this Navy team, good freaking luck. This is the team that, yes, they don't throw the ball that much, so they haven't really allowed that many sacks this year, but Notre Dame, this is a much different test than they faced, right? Notre Dame has faced some teams that can run the football really well. They faced Texas A&M in week 1. You've seen how well their rushing attack has been able to work so far this season. Notre Dame has faced Georgia Tech. They're a team that likes to run the ball. They were able to shut that down pretty solidly as well. Again, the option attack is a different beast. Preparing for it is not like preparing for a team that's just going to hand the football off 40 times a game as compared to throwing the ball 20. Preparing for the option attack is tough. You got a lot of movement and sweeps and different directions the offense can go. You have to be prepared for everything at the exact same time. And that's why controlling the trenches is more important when you're playing an option attack than anything else. Not quarterback play, not forcing turnovers, trench play. When you play an option attack, it's trench play. Notre Dame has been able to do that in pretty much every game it's played so far this year. It must continue to do that here in this game. Force pressure, get back to the backfield. Sacks, I don't think, are going to be that big point of contention here in this game, because when Navy does throw the ball, they get it out of Horvath's hands very, very quickly. But force some turnovers. Be able to generate some plays in that backfield. Use your bigger, stronger, more physical athletes to push through this Navy offensive front. Navy, I do think, has to find success on third down. They got to be able to find that ground and establish that third down rhythm, because, again, controlling the clock, controlling the pace will be as important as ever in this football game, and you're going up against one of the best third down defenses the country has to offer. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, Notre Dame is the more talented team here. It's why they're the 12.5-point favorite, and it's why I do have them winning this game, in fact, covering that 12.5-point spread that you see right there. The Fighting Irish are by far and away the more talented team. But when I take a look at this Navy midshipman team, I do not see a team that's like, yeah, okay, this is a cool story, but they're going to sort of fall off and start to go back down to earth. Navy's got a really tough path with some really good teams coming up here on their schedule. Again, you have that Army-Navy game. You still got to go on the road and play South Florida. Tulane still has to come there, and those are going to be some tricky teams. Navy's got a good chance, though, to run the table and to be able to prove that, hey, even though I do have them losing this game, I just think Notre Dame's superior physicality and athletes and what they're able to do offensively will be a little bit more effective than the triple option attack. And I haven't been super impressed with Navy's defense. Okay, that's a lie. I've been pretty impressed with Navy's defense so far this year, but I haven't been impressed enough to really tell me, okay, they're going to be able to shut down Riley Leonard, Jeremiah Love, and whatever else this Notre Dame attack is going to be able to throw at you. Make no mistake, Navy is good, and Navy is going to be a player in the Group of 5 college football playoff race. I just do not think they have what it takes to beat the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They'll keep it competitive, trust me, and it'll look like Navy's going to have Notre Dame for a little bit, but I think the Irish pull away. They find their momentum, they find their rhythm, and the Irish survive in East Rutherford. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comment section down below. Remember to play hard but tailgate harder, and we'll see all you guys in the next video. More previews out tomorrow. Goodbye.